She has turned things around in a beautiful way. She has now won 3 in a row, and she is screwing up all kinds of plans for the UFC, coming off that win over Justine Kish last week in Oklahoma City. She joins us now via the magic of Skype. Let us go over there. There she is, Felice outside. Hello, Felice. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. I'm enjoying this nice weather, you know.
Yeah.
And my cat quit on my lap.
Oh, we can't see your cat.
But now you can.
There, he or she?
She.
Does she have a
Girl,
leash?
Her name is Quinn. Yeah, I only let her outside on the leash because I don't want her to, like, you know, run off and leave me.
Sure.
You know, first chance she gets, probably doesn't want to be with me.
Why is that?
No, she.
Okay.
No, she loves me. She's my special. She's very special. But I like to bring her outside because she really enjoys it. And I came outside to do the interview, and she just jumped on my lap. So.
Is this your neighborhood? Is this your neighborhood behind us?
Yes. I'm on my porch.
Okay.
So I hope it's. I hope I don't get stalkers. I hope they don't notice the neighborhood.
No, I don't think. I think it's very nondescript. So I think you're okay. Again, congratulations on the win. Congratulations on the resurgence. Is there, like, I know these things are hard to answer, and I know you probably get this question a lot, but is there a reason or two for the resurgence, how you've turned things around, why you've looked so good, in my opinion, the best of your career? Yeah,
actually, I think I did things really wrong for a long time, and I was very stubborn. I actually had a lot of eating disorders from years and years of fighting and dieting and cutting weight and moving up in weight and down in weight. Because, you know, before there was, you know, the UFC, before there was Invicta, there wasn't really that many opportunities for women. So I took what I could get. You know, I was on a reality show 10 years ago, Fight Girls. It was on the Oxygen channel. It was all Muay Thai. I was walking around like 117 around them. Then I got offered to be on the World Combat League with Chuck Norris, and the only weight class they had for women was 128. And so I fluctuated in weight, trying to get up and down, and because of that, I just didn't know how to cut weight anymore. And I just went down that road of, I wouldn't want to say I was anorexic, but I wasn't eating to perform. Like, I was just eating to cut weight, you know, to lose weight. There would be times where I would legit, like, eat a can of tuna a day and break it up into 6 meals. That's how extreme I was. And I always knew, like, but I'm super obsessive. So I trained so hard. And I always knew that when it came time to fight, that there was something off. There was something missing, that I was way better in the gym than I was in the cage. And I thought that it was just always going to be that way. Plus, I had so much anxiety that I would go in there and I would be so tense, and I would just, like, I couldn't be calm. And I found a way to be calm. And I think even in my last 3 fights, where my performances have probably been the best to date, you'll see that I'm very calm in there. And I found a way to just relax. And I don't have eating disorders anymore. Now I eat so much. I eat a lot. I eat for energy. I started working, you know, I eat for performance. I started working with, you know, a doctor who did a bunch of labs on me. He said that after I had lost to Faze Van Dant, I had worked with the doctor because I was like, there's something happened to me in that fight. I couldn't move, and I don't know what happened. And we did all these labs. We did blood, urine, saliva, everything. And he was like, you've been performing at less than 50% of your capabilities for at least 5 years now.
Wow.
And it was because of all the anxiety and all the stress and everything I put my body through. And I took that year off, and we took time to rebuild, and I started enjoying the process. And now I enjoy training again because I've always loved fighting, and I've always been super obsessed and super dedicated. But now it's like I don't feel that I need to be deprived. And I used to think that if I wasn't suffering, I didn't want it bad enough. I wasn't training hard enough. I would, you know, train 6-7 days straight. I would train every single day, twice a day, and like I just didn't feel well. And I think that that's also why my performances were lacking, because I wasn't enjoying it anymore. I wasn't having fun with it anymore. And now it's like, I take Sundays and Wednesdays off. I don't always train twice a day. I'll train longer sessions because I feel like my body has longer to recover. I just listen to my body. I eat a lot more, and I eat healthy, but it's so hard to explain. Like, you'd have to, and I'm going on a tangent here, but it's because it's so much. It's so much information. And I think that people thought that I was on my way out. And even in my mind, I was like, why is this happening? Why are my performances the way they are when I know I'm one of the hardest I'm such a hard worker. I'm obsessed, and my obsession kind of was my demise, It was what held me back. And I'm still obsessed, but I have balance.
So lately you have been very open with these comments about your eating disorders and what you've done to your body and overtraining and not doing things the right way and feeling like maybe you were on the way out and now regrouping. And of course, after the fight on Sunday, you were very open about sort of, I guess, your relationship or standing with the UFC. And so I'm wondering, is there a reason why you have been so open as of late, or is this just part of your maturation and feeling more comfortable with yourself and feeling like, yeah, I can speak out and, maybe good things will come as a result?
No, I've always been real. And, I think that the problem is like you get caught in the politics and it's kind of ass backwards. I've completely rededicated myself to the sport and what should really matter. Before I got so much, people would all talk so harshly on me because of the way I maybe marketed myself, or because, I was, really into like promoting and, social media and this and that. And people were, oh, she's not a legit fighter. And then I came back and I proved I am a legit fighter. You look at my last 3 performances. And I think I've just been in the sport long enough to where I'm like, I do everything right. And I don't get rewarded for it. And so it's like, well, what's the harm in speaking out? I'm not getting what I feel I deserve it, without speaking out. So maybe speaking out will take a turn of events. And I have a really hard time, I'd say, holding back. I'm very emotional, and sometimes I don't really realize I'm being so honest, because that's the only way I know how to be. Like, if you ask me flat out a question, like, I'm not going to lie to you. Like, no matter what the answer is, like, I really don't tiptoe around things. I just speak my mind, and I speak from my heart. And I think that that's the way you should be, And I'm just sick of the politics, honestly.
Did you hear from anyone in the UFC after your comments last week saying that you felt like you're not pretty enough and young enough to get really pushed by the UFC? And short, did you hear from anyone?
I didn't. I actually just got a new number in training camp, and I didn't really give my number to very many people. But I guess the PR team reached out to my manager, and they were like, and my manager broke it down, Brian Butler, like the reasons why I feel this way. Because it's not like I'm just being a baby. It's not like it's not like I can't back up my statements. That's the thing. I'm not just going on this soapbox tangent and being like, poor me, boo-hoo, I'm mistreated. Like, I have a timeline of reasons why I feel this way. And, they reached out to my manager and they said that things are going to turn around. And I would like to believe that that's true. But, at the same token, I think that I'm a very self-made woman. I've been in the sport for a long time. Nobody can tell me that I don't deserve to be where I'm at. Nobody can say that I haven't worked hard. I'm very confident in what I've accomplished, and especially from where I've come from. And I hope things turn around. But the same token, I feel that in the end, I will get what I deserve. And it doesn't always, nothing happens overnight. And I think that's, I think that when things do happen overnight, you don't appreciate them. And I'm a fighter. Like, not just in the cage, like, I'm a fighter in life, so I'm gonna get what's mine.
And
I'm gonna fight for it.
certainly respect you for that. Something I brought up last week, and also Courtney Casey brought this up when I asked her about your comments, because she was on last week. We didn't talk to you. You know, early in your career, I do remember even talking to you about this early days of the show, and some of your, I guess, opponents, critics, if you want to call them that, would mention this as well. Like, you were never afraid to kind of put yourself out there, right? To sort of, I don't know, like market yourself in a certain way and market yourself as a pretty woman and things like that. Did you feel like you had to do that in order to gain, like, did you not want to do that and feel like you had to do that? Because when I heard the comments last week, I was like, well, it's interesting coming from you, only because there was a time where, a lot more than now, you were very open with, you know, on social media and things like that, with pictures, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I still am. I'm still, at that time, there wasn't opportunities for women. And I felt that I know how, I don't disagree that there's a whole marketing aspect behind, you know, the fighting and putting yourself out there. I'm not contradicting myself or what I did in the past, like, but times have changed. Like, since I've been fighting for 15 years. So in a long period, like, I remember at one point, Dana White said there would never be women in the UFC. Well, lo and behold, he creates 1 division, 2 divisions, 3 divisions. Now we're on our 4th division. Invicta opened up. Like, before it was, you had to market yourself. You had to put yourself out there. I put myself out there, and I knew, like, everybody knows sex sells. It was unfortunate that sometimes, you know, and I'm comfortable with myself too. So I never really did anything that I was uncomfortable with, but maybe I was more obsessed with it because I was like, crap, like, this is how people recognize me. They're not going to watch my fights if they're not like, oh, this girl's hot. Now I want to see her kick some ass. You know, I was, you know, doing what I felt at the time I needed to do to get attention, to bring attention to my fighting. And in the end, like, all I've ever cared about was fighting. Like, I know people think that, like, it was all about social media and the marketing and the promoting and this and that, but I was just trying to have a career in a time where it was kind of unheard of for women to have a career in fighting. And so my comments weren't against the, you know, marketing looks and whatnot, but it shouldn't be overlooking talent, or it shouldn't be like, oh, this person actually can't fight, but they're pretty hot, so let's just market them and promote them and get behind them, even though we have these other girls who...
Do you feel like that's the
not
case?
Even girls, men too.
Do you feel like that's the case right now?
I absolutely feel that's the case because, you know, even when you look at the top 10, like the past few years, it's like there's women in there where you're kind of like, why are they even in the top 10? And I felt like it was just, you know, to market and promote fights. And even I know it's true because I was offered December when Michelle Waterson fought Faze Van Zandt. I was offered the fight with Michelle Waterson. And that's a fight I've wanted for years because we were on that show Fight Girls together. Yeah. And I actually, Michelle turned down fights with me on numerous occasions. And when Sean Shelby called me for that fight, I was like, this is a fight I'd want. You know, I was very excited about it. And I sat and he was like, okay, we just got to, you know, get clearance from, you know, because she had broken her hand prior to that. And she's like, we're just waiting on clearance from her doctor. And then a couple weeks later, and I hadn't heard back, a couple weeks later, I find out through the fight announcement that Michelle Waterson is fighting Faze Van Zandt on the card that I was supposed to fight Michelle Waterson on. And then when my manager, you know, went to Sean, like, why did you take that fight away from Felice? It's like, oh, well, we just thought that this one would be a little more marketable. So it doesn't, you know.
That was the word used, marketable?
Yes.
Okay. And so is this disheartening? Like, do you feel like you'll only go so far now in your career? Because you said you...
No, I think I just have to work. I know. I mean, I'm gonna keep pushing forward. That's what I do. I do feel that, you know, it would be nice to have the UFC have my back because they do have their machine behind them. And I think opportunities will always continue to present themselves. Unfortunately, I have to create them for myself rather than, myself, my management team, rather than maybe be getting behind me. And it is hard because, even I don't think, even my last few fights, I've been the underdog, and I wasn't supposed to win. I was like a 3-1 underdog with Alexa Grasso, and even winning didn't. I thought like if I was just gonna, I'm doing my job. I'm showing up to fight, and I'm fighting well, and I'm fighting my heart out, and you can tell that like just keep getting better and better, and I'm beating people in all different ways, and I'm just like, what more can I do? I don't. And then to have people try to take my victories away from me and make excuses for my opponents rather than giving me credit for my victories.
I would be remiss if I also don't ask you about the actual fight and what happened in the fight that everyone's talking about. I did not notice it, but obviously Justine, had an accident. You noticed it in the middle of the fight? You realized this?
No, not in the middle of the fight. Maybe more towards the end.
But you noticed it while the fight was going on?
Yes.
Does that affect,
yes.
No? No?
When I had it back, I didn't really know exactly. I just smelled something.
You did. Does that not like completely throw you off your game? For those that don't know, Justine has admitted that she had an accident. She defecated in the middle of the fight. This has happened before, but I mean, you can look it up. I totally did not notice it, but kudos to her for, owning it and kind of laughing it off. But you're the one fighting her. That doesn't like mess you up while you're fighting?
No.
Wow. Well done.
And that's honesty. I think it's almost like, like the adrenaline. Like people, like you've seen, like people can break their hand in a fight, or they can get like hit so hard, and like, but you have that adrenaline, and you don't. The fight, like if I would let little things like that like throw me off my game, then like I said, I found a way to be calm under pressure, and I feel bad for Justine, I really do, and I'm not. I would never. It's hard to even talk about it because I don't want to keep. I don't want her to keep reliving it. Like every time Felice does an interview, they're going to bring it up, Sure. But it didn't faze me. I think when you're a fighter and you're like focused, like you just have tunnel vision, and you just go out there and you have a job to do.
That's so. And, what about afterwards? Like when you got to the back and you're no longer in front of people, and how did you? Yeah, that's never happened to you, I would imagine, right?
No, it wasn't, afterwards, like, I noticed it, like, a little bit towards the end of the fight, and then as I stood up, and then I just had my, corner clean me off, and then I was fine with, I'm gross. I don't like gross stuff doesn't really bother me. Like, I was eager to take a shower, but I had to go back and do my interviews, and wow. I think it's different if I lost, but I was just so excited that I won. Like almost nothing could really faze me. I mean, if that happened to me and I lost, then I'd be thinking about this, I'd be thinking about that, and, but I didn't. I was happy. I was happy-go-lucky.
All right, fair enough. So you say that you want the Waterson fight. I mean, last I heard, I don't think she's booked. Is that the one that you want next? Would that make the most sense as you continue to sort of knock off some of the top stars in the UFC?
It makes sense. I mean, Paige is not even in the rankings anymore. She's not like, I feel like my performances since that fight, you can obviously tell that there was a clear-cut difference, that something was not okay with me in the fight. And then by her performances since then, like, it doesn't really make sense for me to fight her. It would make more sense for me to fight Michelle Waterson. And, that would be the fight that I would want, and actually be the fight that I believe that I deserve, especially after having it taken away from me. We're both in the top 10, and work my way through the ranks, and I don't know, that would be the fight that I would want.
Would you like to also sit down with the UFC and have a conversation about the marketing and the way you're being pushed and things like that? Is that something that you're interested in?
You know, I think that that's my manager's job to do.
Okay.
Not that I, you know, when I'm an emotional person, and I think that that's the reason why fighters and athletes and entertainers should have managers, is because we're so we're so emotional, we're so close to it, that we need somebody who can actually just state facts and be like, and negotiate, on our behalf. I say, like, I would probably cry again. I would get nothing accomplished. They'd be like, we can't understand you, Felice. Blow your nose, wipe your tears. Like, I would be able to do it. And I'm actually not really a confrontational person.
Wow.
It would be so hard for me to do. Yeah, it'd be really hard.
I get that the manager job. I get that that's the manager's job, but if it's something that's bothering you, maybe you can express yourself or cite examples. But, you know, again, you do hire a manager to be that buffer. So there's no right answer here. I was just curious if that was something that you were hoping to do, have a face-to-face meeting so that things could change in your opinion.
Well, it's almost like, who would I have a face-to-face meeting with? When I had a meeting with Dana White about problems I had in the past, he pretty much shrugged it off, like, you know, so it didn't get anything accomplished. And now I'm almost scared. And I thought I had a good relationship with Dana White. Like, I really liked him as a person. Like, I don't, but it's frustrating when you feel that you're close to somebody and you bring something up that you don't think you're being unfair about, and they kind of tell you that there's nothing they can do about it. And I'll give you an example of what I'm speaking of. When I fought Kylan Curran, before I fought Kylan Curran, I found out she got a really big pay bump. And she got a pay bump after losing 2 fights in a row. Mind you, also being finished. And then she won 1 fight and she got a pay bump. And it was double the amount of money I was making. And even if you go by marketing or whatever, like, I have a bigger social media following than her. I was more well-known. I had gotten off the Ultimate Fighter. And I was like, Dana, and, you know, Sean Shelby said, that was Dana White. He did that, so you got to talk to Dana. And I was like, Dana, I don't understand why you gave Kylan the deal that you gave her. I'm like, I feel like I at least, if you're going to give somebody like Kylan that deal, I at least deserve that. And he's like, that's Sean Shelby's world, not mine. And I'm like, but you did, you know what I mean? So it's like, I felt like, well, who do I turn to? Who do I go to get something done? And after that, I'm just like, I'm just going to keep fighting and keep, you know, the people can't, you know, I can't be denied. Like, it's a sport. My job really is to go out there and perform and keep getting better and keep winning. And that's what I'm doing. And I feel like I've been doing a good job. And I've had a really good comeback story, and not a lot of people know about it because it's not, you know, talked about, and it's, I don't know.
Well, you're doing a great job now, and we have definitely noticed, and I appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate you coming out, because I know, as you said, you're not confrontational, so it takes a lot of courage to do that, especially when you're talking about essentially the company that you are working for. So want to congratulate you on the run, congratulate you on the honesty, not being fazed by having someone's, you know, number 2 on you. That is maybe most impressive of all, at least for me, who is OCD and a hypochondriac. So well done, Felice. Good to talk to you again, and enjoy the summer months in Illinois. It looks beautiful over there.
Yeah, it's really nice. Thank you.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. There she is, Felice Herrig, stopping by. Great to hear from her. It has been a while since she has been on the program, and definitely want to congratulate her on the run as of late.